Welcome. We're going to do a real quick mic test. No, no jump. No. Going to do a quick mic. No jump. Mic check. Kimberly, can you hear? No jump. I'm going to unmute you. Todd, can you hear? Kimberly, can you hear? Unmute. Okay, great. Sandy, can you hear? Thank you. Wait. All right. For those that didn't come in last week, I'm just going to recap to start out with. We'll recap what we did, our commands, walk you through those, and then we'll progress through the rest of the class when everybody else comes in. It'll be just another minute or so. If you have any questions, down at the middle of your screen is a chat button. Hit your chat, type your message in, your question in, and if I don't see it or you don't want to say it on screen, it'll be there for me to see. If you have any other questions, you can send us an email or always give us a phone call. So feel free to ask any question anytime. You can't interrupt my train of thought. My mom told me when I was in the 6th grade, I don't have a train of thought, so you can't derail me, so I'll be fine. But I'd rather answer your questions during class because I can guarantee that any question that you have, everybody else will benefit from it as well. I have Molly with me today, and this is Molly's second week in training, so she's going to participate in all the things that dogs do that dogs don't do. Molly's the case. We've been working for the last week every day, twice a day, just like I tell people in class. So Molly's a lot more settled down today than she was our first day, which is kind of fun. For all those that have been through training before, that's okay. Repetitive training, treat training, all of it is all perfectly great for your dog. It will help you do whatever you want. The true training side of training your dog is you participating with your dog and not having the thinking process that, they will get it later or, they will grow out of it. The hard part about dogs is they never grow out of it. They just do what instinctually is important for them. And if we as the human beings don't interact and show them what we want, excuse me a second, let this person in. If we don't show them what they want, what we want, they can't physically do it. I apologize for anybody coming in. All right. So, like I said, if you have questions, go ahead and feel free to ask. I apologize for having to walk up to the screen because some people will. I wear glasses and sometimes I can't see the chat from back here, so I will walk up to read those types of things. I will also walk up to admit people when they jump late or come in late. My goal is to have have everybody work their dog and progressively build throughout the rest of this training. When you look at training your dog, the dog part is simple, the human part is hard. Oftentimes when a person tells their dog something, Molly, okay? They tell, and the dog has no clue that they're talking to them. No. Now, in the communication, how moms and dogs talk to each other, they're licking, touching, it's tactical. The hard part about it is The hard part is we as humans have to teach the dog the communication line between us and them. So like, I have 2 puppies right now. They're grabbing and biting on each other in the house, okay? Now, they're communicating, and when they get too rough, they let each other know by a whine, cry, or a growl. So when we bring a dog into our household, the unfortunate part about it is we don't translate what stop doing something means. We don't translate what I want you to quit means. So a lot of times dogs go haphazardly nuts in our household and are frustrating for the mere fact that because we haven't taught them how to communicate with us. All dog training is, no matter what school you go to, is just opening up the line of communication between you and your dog so your dog understands what you're asking it to do when you're asking it to do it. Molly? Okay? So, first things first, when you want to tell your dog to stop doing something, say it like the mother would. No. Good girl. No, good girl. Now, what I'm doing is I'm putting my hand directly behind her ears, and I'm just giving a little squeeze. Now, you notice what she does. She does a coddle behavior like, oh, you're mom. The reason why that is that's something that they understand because they do it to each other. Like I grab a paw when they're playing. They bite on each other, okay? Those are behaviors that dogs understand. Dogs don't understand yelling. Dogs don't understand people striking at them. And I tell people all the time, don't do it. Okay? I had a call just the other day, and because people are home, they said my dog was getting into the trash, so I rolled up a newspaper and I swatted it on the nose. Well, unfortunately, the dog did not understand that because when the person went to do it the next day, the dog was in the trash can. I said, well, try this, okay? Walk over to the trash can, put something that smells real good into that trash can, let your dog go to smell it, grab the back of its neck and squeeze and say no. See what the difference is. She corrected the dog twice, and for the last 4 days, the dog hasn't gone into the trash can. Why? Because she communicated with the dog the way the dog's used to communicating. I apologize for letting these people in, but okay? She was communicating with the dog the way the dog's used to being communicated with. Unfortunately, when we bring our dogs home, we don't communicate the same way. We negotiate. It's like the language I'm speaking to you is English. You can understand what I'm talking about. Everybody can hear me? Wave your hand if you can hear me. All right, perfect. Okay? So with the language that we talk, we have to build the language between ourselves and our dogs. Otherwise, the dogs have no clue. So starting out with just the plain old stop doing an action command because I said no. You can take a dog. Come here. Come here, Molly. No jump. Okay? And no. Now you notice I just bit Molly. I said no. But guess what? There's no adverse reaction to Molly because that's how dogs communicate. People get so frustrated because Molly was a real terrible jumper. Real terrible jumper. No jump. Okay? And this is one, no jump. No jump. Now, look what her action is when I say the N-O word. She goes, oh, pause, you don't want me to do that. Oh, pause, you don't want me to do that. But how did I establish that? I went, no, and I bit her. No, and I bit her. Just like the mother would, okay? Now, not everybody wants to reach over and grab their dog, okay? I've had conversation after conversation with anybody. Well, there was a whole group back in the late, leave it. There's a whole group back in the late 80s, early 90s that said, don't tell your dog no, because you'll ruin its psyche. That's like me telling my son, don't run out in the street. You have to teach your dog when to do things and when not to do things in order for them to be safe in the human world. So if you notice, I'll back up a little more. Molly has no problem in the no command because the no command is not given when I'm mad. Leave it. Good girl. Not given when I'm mad. Not given when I'm angry. No. Not given when I'm frustrated. It's just given as a normal talking command word. Because I'm teaching. No, leave it. Because I'm. No. Good girl. Because I'm physically showing her what right and wrong is. By taking this process, whatever she goes to get into, I can tell her N-O to it, and she goes, oh, you're referring to this. Oh, you're referring to that. Now, I just put a new piece of red tape on the floor because I've been, in videos, been creeping forward and creeping forward and creeping forward. So Molly, being an 8-month-old puppy, has discovered the red tape. She's like, there's something different. But guess what? Even though it's different on the floor, and she's, no. See her response? All because of communication. Not because I've been mean to her. Not because I'm yelling at her. And she's fine with it. Because it's just a communication. Leave that alone. But that applies to anything. Now, excuse me one more second. I'm going to let somebody else in. Hey, Jack. Good to see you. Okay, so working with your dog and showing it, this was a perfect example of how your command works. Now, everybody I know doesn't want to reach down and grab their dog, so they end up buying a leash and they buy some type of collar. Okay, I don't promote any brand of collar. Every collar that's out there is beneficial if used correctly. I will say that again. Every collar out there is beneficial if used correctly. People have asked me, do I use electronic collars? I get the rough dogs where people have dogs that run deer and that kind of thing, so I have to train them to do that. or I do field dogs where they have to be 200 yards away from me. But I don't start out there like most trainers. I start out with obedience. That way I never have to hit the button because they know what the words mean. Your dog's running away from you. No, come. Or stop, come. Whatever word that you choose to stop them, you can use it. Okay? Now, as you see, I'm using this as a test for Molly. Because now I have her on a leash and I have her on a keeper collar. Okay? Now with a keeper collar, I'm just going, no, no. Now all it's doing is giving a squeeze, just like I do with my hand. No. Good girl, no. Good girl. Okay. And when she sits or she stops the action, I give her the physical praise. Now Molly's not the treat dog. She loves them on her terms. Molly is the scratch dog. Molly is the dog that loves to be in your lap. Isn't that right, Molly? Isn't that right? That's Molly. Molly is the scratch dog. Molly is the dog that once you give her love, that's what she wants. She could care less about anything else in life as long as you touch her. That's no jump. No jump. Good girl. Okay? So, sit. Good girl. So, last week, our command that we were working on, we were a stop command of no and our sit command. Now, you notice Molly's sitting whenever she stops. That's because every day for the last week, I've been training her 3 times a day because she's just needs more repetitions and she's a client's dog. She's not my dog. So every day we've been working on her just understanding that in a talking tone, I can stop your action. You can stop digging, stop running, stop jumping on furniture because I asked you to stop. And then when I tell you to SIT, I want you to follow that behavior too as well. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-demonstrate how to give your dog the sit command. Leave it. Molly, leave it. Leave it. Good girl. Come. Now, I'm going to re-demonstrate how to position it. No, Molly. No, 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 no. Reposition her to sit. No. Good girl. And I'm going to force her to stand because she's going to want to drop her bum right away. Now, in training your dog to show them the position, one of the key things is when you're showing is the demonstration side. Molly, no. Molly, no. I know. One of these. No. Okay? You want to take and slide your hand down the bum, tuck the tail. Sit. Good girl. No paw. No paw. Good girl. No paw. No paw. Good girl. Okay. No licking me in my mouth. You always get me. No. No, no. No, no, no. Good girl. I'm going to try to work through this again. Even though she's dropping her sit. No, stand. Stand. Good girl. Stand. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Okay, now I'm going to talk through the presentation of your sit command. When your dog is standing there, the average person wants to get to the hip of the dog and they push here. Try to avoid pushing in your dog's loin. The average dog, when you push in their loin, let's see if I can get her to do it. The average dog, when you push in their loin, will push back. Okay? Just natural instinct wise. Will push back. Good girl. But if you take and you slide your hand, you know what I'm going to do, don't you? You know what I'm going to do, don't you? Yep, you do. Sit. If you slide your hand down your dog's back, tuck the tail, their natural response is to bend their knees. Naturally. The kinesiology of it is you touch their tail, they bend their knees. Once they've bent their knees, just hold your hand there. Don't push. Use patience, not force. The average person wants to use force. Use patience, not force. Sit. Good girl. Because what happens is if you use patience, you'll have your dog sitting on their own and you not pushing them into the sit. by them sitting on your own, you're actually getting them to do it faster. Because now when I go, Molly, sit. She understands that's her body movement of what I'm asking for. Rather than if I take and I force her into it, oftentimes you got to go through the resistance part. The dog resists less, resists less, resists less. And if you put your hand in the wrong spot, you're putting pressure on the hip, which is not comfortable for anybody. You know, if just think about it. Somebody push pressure on your hip while you're pushing back, that's just not comfortable. So what you're doing is you're showing your dog to follow the motion. So now, we presented our sit, and our commands this week, we want to work on our down command, which she's already doing because she's anticipating, she's cheating, and our heel command, which is an invisible spot of by our side. Heel is one of the toughest commands to teach your dog because it's invisible. No. But the benefit, no jump. The benefit of the, no jump. The benefit of the, sit. The benefit of the heel command is you're having your dog take the physical pressure off your body. Because if your dog has pressure on your body walking forward and they're pulling you, you have pressure this way, which puts pressure on your spine. If you step off on something, you hurt yourself. If the dog's lagging behind you, it puts pressure on your spine going backwards. No. Drop. Leave it. You're naughty. I'm gonna put this right here so it's going to be driving you crazy the whole time. Leave it. Sit. Okay. See, it's gone now. You took it up. Nope. Now what? I got to put it back down again. It's all your fault. No jump. Okay. So when you're teaching the heel command is to tell your dog to stop, put no pressure on you. So what you do is no. Because you have that no command and they apply pressure, no. So what you do is you physically teach them to avoid the pressure. Okay. So watch as I do this exercise. Watch what happens to Molly. Nope. Now I'm just doing an exercise with her, which you could be going down the street. You could be walking your dog. You could take fast turns. And if you take those fast turns, your dog goes quick adjustment and they try to catch up. Now, look what her response was. I'm making fast turns. I'm making quick adjustments. What it causes your dog to do is watch to see where you're at. And once your dog starts watching to see what you're at, now you can start isolating where you want them to walk. Molly, heel. No heel. No heel. No heel. So if she gets one paw out in front of me, no. I'm correcting it. And I'm walking slow, which is out of her pace. She wants to go fast. And if you notice, no, I know. I'm not stopping. If you notice, my leash is loose. And if she makes it tight, I give her the correction, no. Heel. Now, I want to isolate this heel position. The heel position that I want to isolate is by my side. Okay? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to tell her when I stop, I'm going to say heel and show her where I want her to be. Heel. And what position I want her to be in when I stop. So it's heel, sit. And then I give her scratches and praise. And when I go to start off with my heel, I'm going to step off with my left foot. I'm going to say heel. If she goes out to the side, I bring her in and I say heel. Heel, sit. Now, she's young and she's making a mistake, so I'm going to go no. Heel. Sit. Good girl. Showing her, no. I know, you're trying to be a good girl and face me. I know. Sit. No paw. No paw. Okay. So, I'm stepping off with my left foot, heel. And I can make small left turns because those are the hardest ones on the dog. She goes to lunge out in front, I give her a little tug, no, and then I'm going to do right turns. I get real close to the wall, so she has to learn to adjust to where I'm at. Heel. Sit. Okay? So now I'm working this invisible zone of heel set. Okay? Now, in working that invisible zone, you give them a break and you give them time to understand it. But you keep showing them what you want them to do. You can't assume that your dog knows. The hardest part when we have our dogs is, if Molly were to do that a couple times, the human assumption is my dog knows what I'm talking about. The truth of the matter is the dog's trying to figure it all out and the dog has no clue what you're talking about. So keep this in mind. The formula that I tell people to train by is 1,000 repetitions with your dog on leash for your dog to accomplish it one time off leash. And once your dog has accomplished that one time, start your 1,000 over again. Because if you look at how many repetitions, no, Molly, no. Heel. Heel. Sit. Good girl. If you look at how many repetitions that it takes for us to understand a word or a language, we have to do the exact same type of presentation for our dog. So, once again, we're going to step off their left foot. We're going to tell our dogs to heel. Okay? I'm going to walk towards the camera and back, and then I'm going to make a circle to the right, showing the dog how I want it to respond. Heel. No, heel, because she's getting out in front of me. And I'm going to take a left turn because it's one of the hardest ones for the dog to... Nope. Good girl. Good girl. Sit. Good girl. Now, what the presentation was our heel command. Our next command that we're going to put into our training arsenal is our down command. Now think about your down command and how you use it. You might be at a dinner table and you want your dog to lay there and not interrupt anybody. You want your dog to have visitors over and to leave your dog alone. The mother teaches down differently than the human. Okay? The mother of a litter, Molly. The mother of a litter would take her paw, put it over the puppy's shoulders, and put pressure. Okay? And you notice what Molly did. She laid down. Okay? Now, in doing that, in doing that, you can mimic that body position and training by taking your hand, putting it directly behind the shoulder blades because your index finger and thumb fit in there perfectly. Take light, constant, even pressure and say down. Good dog. Okay? And the key is light, constant, even pressure. You're once again showing your dog what you want it to do. The reason why I'm not taking a treat and bringing it down because I will teach my dog that I always have to have a treat in my hand in order to do it. By me showing her how I want her to respond, I'm showing her how to respond to words. Now, another reason why I'm not taking her legs out from underneath her, unless she was really struggling and fighting, I might take one leg out and work her down, showing her how I want her to do her body. So you go, Molly, come this way. Sit. Hand directly behind the shoulder blades, light, constant, even pressure, down. Now you notice my voice doesn't even change because I'm not pushing that. I'm not pushing hard. I'm just putting pressure. I'm just putting light pressure. Is that your belly? Nope. Pitch. No. Good girl. Stay. Good girl. Stay. No. Don't. Okay. Okay. Good girl. Did I say okay? Did I say okay? Did I say okay? Did I say okay? Good girl. Did I say okay? Did I say okay? Did I say okay? Okay, just showing you that she's not a robot. she is an 8-month-old, wild and crazy, hell-bent for election, young dog. Okay, but the fun part about it is, if you would have seen her the first week of my training, that's all she would do. Now we're getting a line of communication that I can stand here and have a conversation on Zoom, and she'll lay down. No. And she'll have the patience to do so. But it's taking repetitions every day. So in showing her how I want her to respond, I get benefit. So it's just a matter of showing you patience. I'm also talking right now, giving her a training break. Because in a training scenario on a young dog, you would take your training and make it small bits and pieces and then string them all together. Small bits and pieces, string them all together. Small bits and pieces, string them all together. Molly, heel. Molly, sit. No. Heel. Now I'm going to show her how to adjust the positions. Sit, good girl. Now, I didn't talk about that, and I should talk about that now. If your dog's out in a position away from you, and you want your dog to go into the heel position, here's the teaching technique in order to bring your dog into heel. So I'm going to demonstrate the teaching technique. So if your dog's out away from you or sits someplace else, how to teach your dog to come into that heel position. It's also called the finish at the end of your training, but to show them how to come into the heel position. So the easiest way to do that is you take a step back, heel, and a step forward, sit. Because what you're doing is you're just giving your dog the ability to move and turn. Because of the heel position, because you're working them, the adjustment of by your side, Jack, your dog's looking really good. Good job. The position of by your side is the key of teaching them to be there. The hard part is it's invisible. So when you say sit, heel, sit, they just sit down and it could be anywhere. You have to teach them that the concentration of right by your side is where you want them to be. Molly, heel. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. No paw. No paw. Good girl. Now, Molly does this creep thing because all she's trying to do as a puppy is face me. Think about it. We spend all our lives standing tall. Dogs like to try to make that eye-to-eye contact with their humans. A lot of times people think their dogs know how to sit just because they sit down and look up at them. No, in that position right there is the easiest position for them to identify and see you. So we get lulled into the false sense of security sometimes that our dogs know what the sit means. Like when we go someplace, we ask our dogs to sit and they stare at you and look at you. You go to a dog park and you say to your dog, sit, 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 sit. And the dog just looks at you and they're going, you do it perfectly at home. Well, yeah, because at home you're standing there at the cover with a treat in your hand and it's easier for me to see the treat. You just opened up the cover and you got peas in the freezer. I love that sound when you crinkle that bag. I know what's coming. So we get lulled into the false security that the dog understands what we're asking them to do. But they have no clue. That's the hard part. So that's why if you take the steps of showing your dog what every command word and how it means, your dog won't frustrate you as bad. Because you can say to yourself, my dog doesn't know yet because I'm only at repetition 195. My dog doesn't know yet because I'm only at repetition 500. Usually by the time that you get to about 600 repetitions, your dog's doing something extremely well. Like right now, Molly, sit. She's at 645 repetitions of her sit command. No, sit. Okay. And when I say a repetition is, I physically run my hand down her back and tuck her tail. Run my hand down her back and tuck her tail. I'm physically showing her what the command word means. I'm not guessing. I'm showing. By showing her, no, sit, Molly, sit. No, sit. You don't know it yet. Sit. Good girl. Okay. By physically showing her how I want her to respond in it, I take the human frustration out for myself. Because I'm showing my dog and go, hey, my dog didn't do it yet. I haven't done enough repetitions yet. And I'll be right back because Molly's telling me she has to go to the bathroom. I can just tell this real quick. Okay, I'm back. Molly has a tell. And after working with Molly a while, she's no jump. She's one of those when she has to go, she's got to go. She's still young. No jump. Molly, heel. Sit. No heel. Sit. Stay. Okay. So as you're showing your dog what you want him to do, the repetitive side that plays the role, because we're working our down command, is down. Good girl. Now you notice what I did in my down command. I said the command one time, light pressure, constant, even, until she laid down. I said the command one time, use constant, even pressure until she laid down. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want to have Molly learn that when I say the command one time, she does the command, and then I don't have to correct her. I don't have to say no, because I'm teaching her to respond to me the first time as I say it, not later on when she chooses to do it. Okay. Molly, heel. Sit. Down. Good girl. Heel. Sit. Down. Hand directly behind the shoulder blades. Constant. Good girl. Down. Constant even pressure. Praise when she accomplishes it. Heel. Molly, no. Heel. Down. Oh, you almost did it. Good girl. No, down. Down. Good girl. Good girl. Heel. 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 Sit. Down. Good girl. No. Good girl. So as you notice, in me teaching her down command, I'm putting my hand directly behind the shoulder blades, and I'm just using constant even pressure. Down. Good girl. Stay. Constant even pressure. I'm not shoving, I'm not forcing, I'm not working truly that hard. I'm just using constant, slow, gradual pressure, putting her into the down command, allowing her to have the ability to lay down herself, because as she lays down herself, it allows her to understand the meaning of the word as I give the word. Any questions from the group? Okay, so when you look at the commands that we're working on this week, all those scenarios that you want to set up, okay? Put scenarios in like walking close to a wall. Put scenarios in like putting things across the floor and having your dog be distracted, having to look at it, and still maintain the heel position of by your side. Put distractions in, for example, I do this one pretty regularly. Molly, heel. Sit. Okay. Do distractions like just drop. No. Just drop things. Make the no. Leave it. Make the dog just leave things alone, good girl. Leave it. Good girl. So what you're doing is you're setting up scenarios that you can say no to. If your dog digs in the trash, walk it over there to it, put your leash and collar on it, they go to smell it, give it a tug. No. When your dog goes and turns away from that item, you know that they're having a baseline understanding of what you're asking them to do. If they're not, I usually put steak juice in there. I put something, a good treat in there, and tell them to leave it alone. And then I will, if I give a treat, the treat comes from my hand to them. It's not a self-reward. Like I will have to work on taking things up off the floor because she's done it now. We're gonna take that as a training scenario, and no, leave it. Leave it. So we take it as a training scenario. No, leave it. No, leave it. So I set up the scenario that I don't want. So therefore, yep, am I kind of encouraging the dog to do it? Yes, I am, but I'm encouraging the dog to tell them to stop because I said so at a time when I don't need it. So basically, part of what you're training when you're training your dog is you're giving a whole arsenal of commands so that therefore, if you go out in the public or you go someplace else, you have the words to use in case of emergency. If you don't teach your dog, no, heel, sit, stay down, and come, you don't have those words to use when it's a situation of emergency. Your dog's running towards the street, and you're calling its name, you're calling its name, you're calling its name, and they're saying in their mind, I'll be back in a minute, I'll be back in a minute, I'm just going to go get that squirrel that's across the street, I'll be right back. But if you teach the word no, your dog goes, uh-oh, something's amiss at the scenario because mom said that N-O word. But the problem is you have to teach what no means. No means stop whatever that you're doing. So you have to set up scenarios, put a piece of food on the floor, grab your dog, squeeze its neck, have it leave it alone. Your dog's barking at something. The doorbell rings, and your dog's a chronic barker. The dog goes to the door. You go, what do you got? Okay. You grab them, tell them to stop because you want them to stop. You always want them to warn you, but you want them to stop because you said so. And if you look at Molly's patience has come a long ways because she's been worked every week. So I stand in front of the video camera and talk and make her sit still. Because at her house, she wants to be crazy all the time, and her parents want her to not tear up the furniture. But then I also give her this. Molly, okay, good girl. Okay, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. No jump. Good girl. Good girl. No jump. Good girl. No jump. No jump. Good girl. Good girl. No jump. See, the scenario is not only do I work her in her world, I give her okay so she's running free and doing the crazy things that she would normally want to do, but then I also stop her. So now I have a communication line. She goes, has a lot of fun, she's being crazy, but they don't want her to jump up on her. So guess what? I work on that scenario. I tease her to jump up and make her go, make her want to, no jump, make her want to, no jump, make her want to, and correct it, no jump. Now, if I'll put more paws on the ground, I give her her scratches. Good girl. I know, good girl. You're getting there. Your brain's trying to explode one day because I'm making you not jump. Yep, it's going to go.